Taking a look at today's equity index futures markets, let's check in on the NASDAQ futures today, as the NASDAQ futures are having a nice day today. We're seeing them up about 2% currently, and up for a third consecutive session with some renewed strength here as we enter the month of April. And currently, we're looking at those NASDAQ futures really not too far off their all-time highs and hovering right around the 13,575 level today as we get close to settling out for the session. And when you look at some of the factors playing into, I think, why we're seeing the NASDAQ futures having a nice session today, a couple of things. Number one, the reaction to the jobs number last Friday, which the markets were closed here in the United States. The futures did indicate that the markets were probably going to open higher, and they sure did today, and we did see some continued strength throughout most of the session, finishing just off of the highs of the session today. And again, I think that those job numbers, those substantial stronger numbers than what the market anticipated, set the tone for the NASDAQ futures and really for all the other equity index futures today as well. Couple that with interest rates, moderating as well. I think, the fact that we're seeing the 10-year finding a range here around 170 basis points, the 30-year actually coming back in a little bit, but right around 240 basis points. But there is some moderation here the last couple of weeks. And as the tech sector has a chance to digest this, I think, certainly it was having an impact earlier in the year as these rates are climbing. But now as they moderate, I think that's another reason why we're seeing the NASDAQ futures finding the ability to outperform some of the other futures markets here the last couple of days. Now, looking at the trends in place, we are seeing the NASDAQ futures, as I mentioned, pushing up here. Still not taking out their all-time highs, but not too far away now with today's price action pushing them up better than 2%. The Dow futures and the S&P 500 futures, where we're seeing, again, a nice move higher, not quite as significant as the NASDAQ, but both those futures are going to new all-time highs today. Russell futures are up as well. They're the laggard today, but they're still higher on the session. But you look at the NASDAQ futures and the Russell futures, they're still off of their all-time highs, as we do see the Dow futures and the S&P 500 futures going to new all-time highs today.